It's very tempting to say whether the U.S. is inching toward a recession or it's already in one. We don't know yet, but at least that's the takeaway that some of the economists had um from Thursday's GDP report, which showed that the U.S. economy shrank at a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 1.4% in the first quarter of 2022. Now, this reading comes as inflation is hitting a 40-year high, and it's forcing many Americans to cut back on their spending to stay afloat. Yet unemployment is remarkably low. A steep pullback in exports resulting from supply chain bottlenecks had the most significant contribution to the GDP last quarter. And a one-year quarter contraction doesn't necessarily mean a recession is on the way. But what does a recession really mean for us? Basically, um, a recession means that there's a significant decline in our what they call economic activity. Now, there's an unofficial definition that 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP mean an economy is in a recession, but the National Bureau of Economic Research, which gives the official ruling on when a U.S. recession started and ended, says a significant decline in economic activity cannot be determined solely on the GDP itself. Now, generally, a significant decline in economic activity um, results in several different factors, including high unemployment, a slowdown of goods produced and sold, wages falling, in addition to negative GDP readings, according to NBER. So, what happens during a recession? But during a recession, a lot of people tend to lose their jobs until they're able to find a new one, and they often have to cut back on spending money or take on more debt to finance their expenses that they're going to need. Now, for instance, at the height of the COVID-induced recession, nearly 23 million Americans were laid off, and this came as businesses were forced to close to curb the spread of the virus, and without customers, the employees couldn't afford to pay the employees. Now a recession can last as long as it can. Um, Going back to World War II, we've had 12 different recessions, and each of them have lasted at least 10 months, if not longer. But this is a wide range. The most recent recession was the shortest ever, lasting just about 2 months, which went from February to April of 2020. The prior recession before that, which was when Obama was in office, the one that we called the Great Recession, lasted 18 months. Um, it's unlikely that a recession will occur this year, the economists will say, um, but unlikely it doesn't mean that it's definitely out of the cards. The Deutsche Bank economists predict that we will get a major recession sometime in late 2023 or as early as 2024, and that marks a shift tone from last month when the economists predicted a mild recession. But they said in a note published on Tuesday that the recession is likely going to be more significant since it will be a long time before inflation returns to the Fed's 2% target that they want. Now, now this means that the central bank will need to take an even, what they call more aggressive stance on raising interest rates, to clamp down on inflation. But the raising rates can backfire since it can cause consumers and businesses to spend less as it becomes more expensive to borrow money when interest rates on mortgage and credit cards and other loans increase in tandem. However, the PNC chief economist, Gus Felcher, said that the U.S. economy is not anywhere close to a recession yet. But in a note published after Thursday's GDP report, underlying demand remains strong and the labor market is in excellent shape, but growth will resume in the second quarter, hopefully. So if you like the video, you can give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And if you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of YouTube. And for just as little as a few bucks a month, you can help the channel go a long way. And thanks for listening.